Okay, good afternoon, everyone. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is now called to order. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Stan Kumorik. I'll be your chair this afternoon. I'd like to also introduce my fellow panel members. On my far left is Natalia Popovic. On my left is Laura Alderson. On my right is Mr. Rick Ross, and on my far right is Bill Dalton. Also on my far left is Barbara Bertozik, who is the Manager and Deputy Secretary Treasurer for the Etobicoke Committee of Adjustment. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Our procedure this afternoon, the Committee of Adjustment hearings are conducted in a hybrid and in-person virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, while others will do so participating virtually through a online WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their device and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist. When your item is being held during this time, your camera will be enabled. You will be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. All other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadlines. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during their video appearance. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address as a Committee of Adjustment, and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Now only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal a decision. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will go through each item as listed in the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. If not, we may just do questions. The committee will ask the questions and then take the matter into committee for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will let you know when you are at or beyond your 5-minute mark. Any presentations material other than, any presentation material you wish to submit to the committee, as I mentioned earlier, must have been submitted in advance. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make the presentation. Again, if there are a lot of revisions, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the proposed changes. Excuse me. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on people in the meeting room and then those participating online. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant and agent will have the opportunity to rebut, but only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into the committee for a decision. Okay. So in terms of the agenda, I guess our first item really is if there are any declarations of interest by panel members or staff for the items that are on this afternoon's agenda. Seeing none, I will proceed. We do have, I believe, one deferral request, and that's item 20, which is the top of our agenda, so we'll just deal with it in the normal order. Treats. The whole thing?
Down the whole row. You were at the
Okay,
end of the row.
I'll grab one once we introduce this item. Thank you. Oh, okay. So item 20 is 20 WATERBEACH Crescent. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage, and I believe the applicant is requesting a deferral. So if we could address that with the applicant, who I believe is Daniel Allen.
Yes. Hi.
Good afternoon.
I'm Daniel Allen, address 1009 66 Malta Avenue in Brampton.
Okay, you would like to defer your application?
Yes, sir. We'd like to defer it to do some correction and amendments for the site plan.
Okay, very good. Are there any other speakers online or in person for this application?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Panel members, we have a request for deferral from the applicant for this application.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the deferral on the basis of the request of the applicant and no opposition.
Thank you. Ms. Popovic?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Laura. All in favor? Okay, item 20 is deferred.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So item 21, or Madam Secretary Treasurer, there are no other items to be deferred or no other request for deferral? No. Okay, perfect. So item 21, 72 Arcadian Circle. This is an application to construct a partial second-story addition and an attached garage along the north side of the property. There are 3 variances being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 2 in the event of approval, and we have no other comments from city departments. The applicant is online, and I have 2 individuals listed, so maybe we can clarify.
Mr. Chair, it'll be Christina.
Okay.
Hi there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't think we need a full presentation. If you would like to just perhaps highlights, provide us with some highlights, and then if you're open to questions, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon. My name is Christina Martucci. Thank you for the opportunity to present this application for 72 Arcadian Circle. So we're proposing a small second floor addition above the rear of the house and a single attached garage with a compact storage room on the north side of the property. All 3 variances are very minor, technical, and don't actually create any adverse impacts for the neighbors or the streetscape at all. The second floor addition is actually located at the well to the rear of the house and is almost invisible from the street. The second, and the garage and the storage room are very modest in scale. They're not tall, they're not intrusive, and they're consistent with the many homes in the neighborhood. As well as we're maintaining a lot of soft landscaping around the entirety of the house. I would say that the other thing that I'd like to say is that the setback on the side yard, while it is over the amount, the neighbor's house is well separated, almost 12 feet to the north side of the lot line, so there's no impact on privacy or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from panel members? No? And I'm assuming there's no one else online?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. No one else.
Thank you. So we'll take it to committee.
No one has any questions or concerns. I'm happy to make that motion. I believe this is a pretty straightforward application, meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and move for approval subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Christina. Item 22, 4 Milton Street. This is an application to construct a 2-story rear addition. There are 5 variances being requested, one of which has been reduced. Planning is requesting 2 conditions in the event of approval. Metrolinx has advisory comments, and we have 4 form letters of support. Tatiana, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Tatiana Pejevic, and I'm the agent for the owners of the property at 4 Milton Street. After submitting of a proposal for a rear addition to the existing 2-story house at 4 Milton Street, we received a zoning notice with 5 listed variances. One of the variances is exceeding length of the house, which is proposed, and it is 19.53 meters. I would mention that at the same time, the proposed rear addition does not project beyond the rear wall of the neighboring house at 6 Milton Street. The existing front addition projects into a front yard and contributes to the overall length of the house, exceeding the permitted overall length. Without the front existing extension, the house length would be 16.99 meters. The existing frontage is only 7.7 meters, and it is significantly less than the required 10.50 meters. And without having side setbacks as a zoning variance, the proposed length of the house, in this case, which is variance, was used to achieve the desired overall floor area. In this case, the house has a modest size of around 201 square meter. So after communication with the city planner, we revised the plans, and in order to increase the soft landscaping in the rear yard. We will add also the privacy screening, which is required in the staff report. And I would mention also that the owners had communication with the neighborhood, and they had received significant support, and they received letters of support which are from their immediate neighborhood. Those are the numbers 1, 3, 2, and 6. We hope that the proposed variances are of a minor nature and that we can have your approval.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any speakers in the chambers for this item? No?
I have nothing on the list, Mr. Chair. No.
And no one online?
No.
Okay, so let's take it into committee. Any questions? No?
So with that, then, I'd like to move a motion for approval, as I believe, well, subject to the planning conditions and the November 7th, 2025 memo, as the application meets the 4 tests, and it's very straightforward.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
Chair, I will second that, and I'll note it's the revised notice.
Thank you for that friendly amendment. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 23, 115 10th Street. This is an application to legalize and maintain an enclosed second-story front platform, to construct a second-story rear addition, and to convert the existing dwelling into a duplex. There are 2 variances being requested. Planning is requesting a condition in the event of approval. We have on file an order to comply, and forestry is requesting condition 1 in the event of approval. And we have our agent online. And no one else, okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I don't think we need a full presentation. If you can just give us a little bit of a summary, how we wound up here and how we wound up with the order to comply.
The owners who purchased the building, the vacant building back then, they
Sorry,
decided.
we're having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, one moment. How about now? Is this a little better?
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, the owner had purchased the building, and it's a 2-story building with originally 3 apartments. The upstairs was.
We've lost you again.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, this building, it contained 3 apartments, 1 upstairs and 2 downstairs. But they began to do some work because there was the flooding in the 2 apartments that was on the main floor. And so they had to remove all the damages. It was a completely vacant building. So that's why they began work on that. So they had to do some work on that. So anyways, we were advised by the building inspector who visited the site to proceed with
Okay, we're losing you
a
again.
permit application.
Hello?
Hello? Yes? Can you hear me now?
Barely.
I'm just going to try to increase the volume of my microphone.
Maybe get closer to the mic might help too.
Okay, and how about now?
Perfect.
Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, we began to, we intended to do a building permit application with the addition at the back. So, and as it stands, the minor variance setbacks, the setbacks for the front and side yard was just a little out of place, but the building remains in its exact position as it was since the beginning of its construction, probably about 100 years ago. So
Okay. You're aware of the planning condition?
yes, this is to do with applying for the
To tie it to the site
tree
plan?
injury. Yeah, but I was a little surprised because there's no trees that will be removed and or injured, as it will be so far away from the site of where we are trying to do work. But we will fully comply with the condition and apply for
Okay.
the application for that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? No other speakers?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Adam. We'll take it into committee then.
So as both variances are minor, I'd move a motion for approval, as I believe they meet the 4 tests, subject to the November 14th, 2025 Environment, Climate, and Forestry memo, and the November 13th, 2025 Planning memo.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Seconder? Rick? All in favor? Okay, you have, that's unanimous approval. Thank you. Okay, item 24, which is 385 LANOR Avenue. This is an application to construct a partial second-story addition. There are 3 variances being requested. And I think there are no comments from any city departments or neighbors. And Rick Bongers is the agent online.
Yes, hello, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Rick Bongers, address 75 Redwood Avenue, Cambridge, Ontario. One thing I want to clarify is actually it's not a partial second story addition, it's a full second story addition.
Okay. So let's amend the purpose then? We'll just call it to construct a second story addition?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't think we need a presentation if you're just open to questions.
Okay. Sure, I'd be happy with that.
Thank you. And I'm just going to confirm there are no other speakers for this item.
No one on my list, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And let's take it to members. Do you have any questions? No?
I have a question of staff. Is this not a notice issue?
I don't think it really is a full second story because there's a rear addition that isn't being touched. They're only building the second story on the main portion of the dwelling, and I think that's why it was worded the way it is.
Okay.
But based on the site plan, it's only going on the square part of the
Okay,
building.
I'm satisfied with that.
So do we want to amend the purpose or leave it the way it is?
So renoting it as amended or leaving it as is?
I get the applicant would have to tell us, is that rear addition being touched or no? No, there's
No, it's not. So
No.
actually,
I
yeah,
would
it's
leave
not
it the way it
it's not
is
a second story addition over the entire footprint of the ground floor. It's just over the main body of the house. There's an existing rear addition on the back, and we're not going over top of that portion. So I guess, yes,
So it's
So
second-
partial still
it would
flies.
be considered a partial second
Yeah.
story in that we're not building over the entire footprint
Yeah.
of the ground floor.
Okay, that works. So we'll leave it alone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
We'll leave it alone. So I'm prepared to make a motion, if no one has any other questions. I believe this application meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act. It's pretty straightforward, and move for approval with no conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, Rick. Okay, moving right along. Item 24. No, that was 24. Item 25. So 35 Elder Avenue. This is an application to obtain consent to sever the lot into 2 undersized residential lots and to construct a new multiplex containing 4 units and a 2-story garden suite in the rear yard on each of the 2 divided lots. This will also result in 3 variances for each of the proposed multiplex units. Arlene Beaumont?
Yes, and while you're getting ready, Mr. Chair, I want to bring to your attention, there is some area residents to speak.
Yes, I do see that. Okay, so can we get Arlene online?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Arlene Beaumont, Outred and Associates. We are the agents for the owners of 35 Elder. We are here today to, as you said, request severance of the lot into 2 parcels. The owner intends to construct a 4-plex on each lot, as well as a 2-story garden suite on each lot. We require minor variances for lot area, lot frontage, and a 5th unit because the zoning bylaw only permits 4 units at this location. The 4-plex dwellings themselves do meet all the requirements of the bylaw, so there's no variances for height or setbacks of any sort. We do have to come back in January for 6 variances related to the garden suites, as these variances were inadvertently left off the public notice that was sent out. However, the cover letter that I provided with the application does list all of the 6 variances that we will be applying for in January and provides a justification for them. Our client did not want to defer today's hearing to add the garden suite variances because there's been a number of delays on this file already. And I'm just going to go through very briefly the tortured history on this application. So we originally
just-
submitted our
sorry.
application.
Hold on.
The only
Yes.
concern I have is that whatever decision is made today will not guarantee any sort of approval for garden suites that the committee is not considering today. So you're taking
Understood.
a risk that those are going to be dealt with separately, and the committee is not compelled by today's decision down the road.
We understand that. We do understand that.
Okay.
So as I said, we originally submitted the application in March. In April, planning staff came to us and said, would we consider moving the 2 main dwellings back by 1 meter to protect the trees, to increase setback between the large trees in the front yard? We agreed to do so, revised the plans, and submitted for a second zoning review. We got those zoning reviews back in May and June. And as a result of moving the garden suites back, we now had 6 variances for those gardens. Sorry, as a result of moving the main dwellings back, it created 6 variances for the garden suites. The garden suites previously had no variances, but when we moved the main dwellings back, it created 6 variances. We made our second submission to the committee on July 3rd. But shortly thereafter, we became aware that there was a new bylaw coming forward that was going to come into effect in late July. That was bylaw 648, 2025. And that bylaw would eliminate and reduce the variances that we had for the main dwellings. So we asked the committee to hold the application. As soon as bylaw 648 became in full force and effect, in late July, we submitted for new zoning reviews for the main dwellings. As I said, we got rid of 3 variances because of the new bylaw, and a couple of the variances were reduced. Once we received those zoning reviews in early September, we submitted the new zoning reviews to the committee. We did state in our email and our cover letter that the previously submitted zoning reviews for the garden suites had not changed. However, the garden suite variances were left off the notice. So we understand you can't consider those today. But our client is anxious to move forward on this project and doesn't want to wait any longer. He would like just some forward motion here. We feel that if we get this, if the committee does decide to approve these consents today, we can start working on clearing conditions. We can start working on building permit applications for the main dwellings, demolishing the existing dwelling, all of the precursor work. And while we wait to come back to committee in January for the garden suites. Regarding the variances that we're requesting today, they're very much in line, lot area, lot frontage for what has been approved in this neighborhood previously. I did pull all of the committee decisions within about 500 meters, and there was several approvals for lot severances that had smaller lots than what we are asking for today. And we feel that the proposal is in line with the city's vision for gentle intensification in low density neighborhoods, and the variances are minor and are appropriate for the development here. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so I'd like to start with a question relating to forestry. I mean, their initial recommendation was to refuse this application. What discussions have you had with them to change their mind to request only tree injury or protection?
So I've not had discussions with forestry. I have had discussions with planning about forestry issues. As I said, they came to us in April after we initially submitted and said, please move the dwellings back. It creates extra space between new construction and those 2 trees in the front yard. And we did that, and planning was
So
satisfied.
are those
with
2 trees city trees?
No, they're private.
They're private, okay. Okay, thank you.
Can I just, for abundance of caution, for the agent to address, because you have an opportunity to defer now
Yeah,
in order to address the variances that are required for the garden suite. You're choosing not to do that, which I understand, but I just don't want the applicant to then come back, apply for the garden suites and ask for a refund. Because you have an opportunity to deal with everything as part of these applications. Because if they ask for a refund, the recommendation will be no. So it's going to cost you all over again.
And my client does understand that. I did write a letter. I have submitted the application for the garden suites, and I did write a letter requesting that the fees be waived because we feel that there was a mistake made, that the garden suite variances were not included on the public notice that went out.
Right, but we have an
But
opportunity to
obviously,
fix that today.
I understand that. My client does not want to wait any longer. He's been very clear. He doesn't really want to wait. I mean, there's been delays. Nobody's fault. It's just the way this application has sort of unfolded, but there's been
Okay,
several
I just want to
delays.
put it on record that the recommendation for any request for fee reduction or waiver will be, the answer will be not to do that. So I just
Okay,
want your
we
client to
understand.
be fully aware of that.
We understand.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a related question.
sure.
To follow up on Madam DXT's comment, the way I read the notice for part 1, it reads, construct a new multiplex, 4 units, and a 2-story garden suite in the rear yard.
How can we divide it up?
How can you divide it?
The description is telling you what's on the site, but the way Toronto Building works is they consider them 2 separate structures. So I'm not clear where the error happened, if we weren't provided with the updated zoning review or if we didn't include it. Adam can perhaps answer that question. The onus becomes on staff to ensure that they use 2 separate zoning reviews. One is for the main building, one is for the garden suite. And it's up to us to include both in the public hearing notice. So Adam, did they give you this revised zoning review for, because I see one.
The most recent zoning review did not include garden suite
There
variances.
is one, there's 2.
I also have a related question too. I mean, one of the variances is to ask for the garden suite to be built because we're only allowed to, I mean, the bylaw says that it's, 4 and not 5. So I really, how can we approve variance number 3?
Because you
As
can
part of
build
the
a garden
package.
suite that complies with the bylaw,
No, but you can't if you can't, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
right?
No, but we still have to approve 5 dwelling units.
That's why that's part of the main dwelling list of variances, because it's a 4-plex plus a garden suite.
Well, but the garden suite is
Ostensibly-
number 5.
Right, but ostensibly, they could build the proposed garden suite with these 3 variances that complies with all bylaw requirements.
Could they? I don't.
Not the way it's shown
So the
here.
multiplex is 4 dwelling units.
Yes,
So the 5th dwelling unit is the garden suite. They're asking for a variance to build that garden suite,
yes.
not the multiplex.
Right, how do you separate
So
it
how
out?
do we separate this out? Because we can't approve
I would
variance.
prefer that it all be dealt with together.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Without-
this is a matter of
because-
deferral.
Coming back for a second application, as I mentioned before, implies that they think if something could be approved today, or I'm not speaking for them, but the way it could be perceived, if something is approved today and you've seen the garden suite, well then, should you be compelled to approve it since you've already seen the plans? But you don't have the full list of variances before you, which you should have based on the plans before you.
And also, since my microphone is on, how big is this lot? I'm just curious, because it seems like a lot of dwelling units on one lot. What's the size of the lot? In feet,
Square feet.
square feet.
Is that a question to me?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So, I'm just looking at my survey right now, and it is at 19.05 across, so the width is 19.05
But that's not
meters.
feet. That's feet?
That's not feet, sorry. I don't do feet.
It's
Yeah,
about
I don't do-
7,800 square feet.
How many?
7,800.
What's the size of the lot in feet?
31.3 feet wide,
31.3 times what?
and then it's 38.1.
It's about 1,200 square feet.
Okay, but the
Yeah.
dimension, 31.3 by what?
38
The
something.
depth is 38.10 meters.
38.10 meters. Okay,
Which is 125 feet.
125 feet. So 31.3 by 125.
I just,
3912.5.
39?
3912.5.
okay, I just want to make a comment on some of the comments that were raised with regards to the variances not being outlined for the proposed garden suites. I mean, the other option for committee members, if the applicant chooses to go forward with this application today, is to not approve variance 3.
Yeah, we can do
That's the
that.
sticking point, right?
Yeah, that's the one that yeah. So, I mean, you do have that option as well.
So they can actually build the multiplex and go forward with that and come back for the
I
garden.
mean, if they want to piecemeal the application, you can piecemeal the approval process as well. So I'm just saying that there are other options.
Yeah. Cut the difference.
Yeah.
Are we in committee now discussing?
No, not anywhere near. I think that this discussion needed to happen to see whether we were going to defer this application or not. And, you know, the applicant obviously wants, I'm assuming still wants to go forward.
Right, but before the interested parties speak, does the committee have an appetite to defer? Because they don't want you to defer after hearing all the evidence.
That's why we're having this discussion
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's two ways you can do it. It's, as Barb said, we could approve variance number 3, which is for the garden suite, but the garden suite that they'll be able to build is only as per bylaw. So what they're showing currently now.
Is not what would be approved.
No, we're just saying, okay, applicant, you want a multiplex and a garden suite. You can do that, but you can't build it now because, like she said, they have to come back in January for the variances specifically for that. Or option 2, we can just consider variances 1 and 2, leave 3 out, and then when they come back in January, they
Deal
can
with the
do
whole thing.
7 variances as opposed to 6, because their 7th variance then will be the garden suite itself. So pick your poison.
Does that make sense?
I'll have a comment to
Sure.
colleagues. I think that the second option to me makes more sense because otherwise,
Well, option 1 is to defer the file altogether.
okay. Option 2 is to not approve minor variance 3 because that's the one that is tied to the garden suite.
Correct.
And the applicant is asking to bifurcate, yeah? that makes more sense to me, unless you want to defer.
Okay, so I think what we need to decide right now is whether we're deferring or whether we're proceeding. And then we proceed, however we feel is appropriate if we choose to proceed.
Well, given the applicant knows, she has stated twice, the client wants to move ahead, then that's her direction from her client to go ahead. To go ahead then, deferral is taken off the table, but there's two routes that we can consider going ahead, not as is or take away variance 3 for the garden suite.
Okay, so do you want to proceed?
Her direction is to proceed.
No, but does the committee want to proceed? I don't really care what the applicant's asking for right now.
I'm comfortable with proceeding.
Okay.
Yeah.
And taking number 3 off the table.
That discussion we can have as we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm comfortable.
We'll step this out.
Okay, so we don't need to do a vote. We got a consensus. We're going to proceed?
Proceed.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, thank you. So, any other questions for the applicant before I go to other deputants? No? Okay.
Mr. Chair, would you like to do the area resident that's in person on my list?
Yes, please.
Okay, our area resident for, is Surma?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon.
We're okay? Okay.
Technical issues everywhere today.
I see that. Thank you for hearing me out. My name is Conrad Surma, resident for 44 26th Street. I have just general, I'm not sure how this is going to move with the section 3 that you just ruled on. I have general concerns about the size of the scope of the project. I have no objections to multi-unit plexes in the neighborhood, none whatsoever. I completely understand the issues that that Toronto faces. I have a concern with 5 units on a relatively small lot. This is for part 1 and then part 2 of this. And then my biggest concern is probably with the garden suite being 2 stories, the nature and the visual of the neighborhood. Those drawings don't show a good example of how the privacy that it would impact on multiple neighbors in the neighborhood, and some of my friends, including my lot as well. So that would be my number one. Those would be several concerns. The other thing, there's no parking allocated at these facilities. The street that this property is on is extremely busy. There's already generally an over amount of parking on that street, and if residents do require vehicles, it would just add to the problem that already persists in the neighborhood. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, thank you. So your principal concern is with the additional 5th unit per?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And the scale of the 5th unit in this case would be there.
For sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
I didn't think so. Okay. No, it's good. It's good. So let's go to Andy.
Andy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Andy Choles. I live at 12 Jasmine Avenue in Long Branch. I'm a board member of the Long Branch Neighborhood Association. The LBNA does support the renewal of housing stock that is sensitive to the neighborhood. However, this application results in an overbuild to what is permitted on the lot and will be inconsistent with the prevailing conditions in the neighborhood. As such, the application fails 4.1.5, which states development in established neighborhoods will respect and reinforce existing physical character of each geographical neighborhood. Currently, each of the 2 parts of this application proposes the following, which are contrary to the policy. Lot frontages would be 9.52 meters, and lot area would be 3.62.9 meters squared. Do not comply with the zoning bylaws. In developing, the site will create 2 new sites with 5 units each, will remove protected size trees and does not fit in the multiplex policy and garden suites policy. City's official plan contains policies to protect trees and green space on private properties. Chapter 7, Garden Suites and Neighborhood, addresses the development of garden suites. will maintain the majority of the rear open space and maximize contagious. Maybe I'm ahead of myself here with the garden suites. The garden suites are a fifth dwelling that does not belong in there. However, the multiplex in Chapter 7 of the multiplex in the neighborhood, developing multiplex will maintain the low-rise form of each geographical neighborhood, including in particular, and is encouraged to salvage or reuse existing building materials and or foundations. By stating this along with the policy should not result in the injury or removal of a healthy tree protected under Municipal Code Chapters 608, 658, 813 on the subject property and adjacent properties. It is clear the official plan policies for multiplexes is not encouraging severances. The policy references are specific for larger multiplex. On August the 15th, 2025, the amendments to the OPA 540 were received from Deputy Minister Sean Fraser, the Municipal Housing Operations Division, Ministry of Municipal Affairs Housing, permitted overarching permissions for larger multiplexes in MTSA and PMTSA on major streets. Neighborhood multiplexes and apartment buildings are permitted without an amendment to this plan in neighborhoods within delineated major transit station areas or protected major transit station areas that are up to 4 stories, up to 6 stories with 200 meters, within 200 meters of existing planned transit station, and up to 6 stories with the frontage on a major street shown on the map. OPA 540 is clear. 35 Elder is not in an MTSA, PMTSA, or on a major street. Therefore, the application does not meet the criteria for significant relief in unit count, density, and severances that facilitate removing significant numbers of protected trees. The missing variances have already been addressed. I believe this is an incomplete application as it stands. In conclusion, approving this proposal would set a new troubling precedent for overbuilds on narrow sites. It is important to note that this is the largest frontage on Elder, and the severance will reduce it to 2 frontages that are not bylaw compliant with the most density that exceeds the municipal and provincial standards. And the lots with similar frontage are not host to a 4-plex. It's probably a couple of soldier houses. Similar variances in this magnitude to what is requested do not exist. The density and removal of protected size trees and the purposes of the multiplex and garden suites fail the test of maintaining the general intent and purpose of the official plan and bylaws. They are not desirable for the appropriate development or the use of land, and they are not minor. This application should be refused. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members?
Yes, Mr. Choles, how would you feel about a semi-detached multiplex as opposed to 2 individual multiplexes?
That's coming up later in the agenda today.
I know it is. I'm just wondering how you would feel about that. Would you think that was a better application? I'm here to oppose that one as well. No, it is not. A single 4-plex on an unsevered lot, that's probably what's allowed and what should be permitted. This application and the one this afternoon later on is pushing the boundaries to somewhere where was not intended. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Paul? Sorry, any other speakers?
Sorry, Mr. Chair. No, there are not.
Okay. Okay, so let's come back to Arlene.
Hi there. So thank you. So first of all, we have worked with planning on saving trees. We did move back the main dwellings, the 4-plex dwellings, back by 1 meter to save those trees, we were planning always to save them, but we're giving them even more room between construction and those trees to make sure that they thrive after the new buildings are built. Some trees would have to be removed for any new construction on this site. If you were doing, splitting the lot to do 2 singles, you would probably be removing the same amount of trees. I would like to just remind the LBNA that 4-plex dwellings are permitted throughout the city in all of the formerly just detached neighborhoods. The previous speaker, Mr. Surma, mentioned about parking. the City of Toronto Council has decided that parking is not required for any residential uses, so we do not require a parking variance. Now, we can agree that this may not be the best policy. I mean, I think that's up for discussion, but in fact, we do not require parking variance. No parking is required for residential uses in the City of Toronto anymore. So I believe that this is a good application. However, we'd be willing to take variance number 3 off and deal with the garden suite entirely at the January hearing.
You might not have that choice.
Well, they can't amend their application in a rebuttal anyway, so
Sorry?
they can't amend their application in a rebuttal. They would have had to have done that in their original presentation.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying they may not have that choice, and we may take it off anyway, so. There's one thing I haven't seen here, and that's in the evidence, a comparison of the proposed lot sizes to the prevailing pattern in this neighborhood. Can you comment on that?
Yes, so I did pull the variances for a number of consents over the last many years.
Yeah, I'm not
Now,
necessarily interested in variances. I would like to do a comparison of how many
right.
other properties in this neighborhood have the same frontage that you're now proposing.
So there are a number of properties that have been approved in the 7.5 to 8.5 range. So it's much less than what we're asking for. However, they were for single detached homes. I will concede that they've not been for fourplexes. But there are a number of variances that are much less than what we're asking for that have been approved.
Do you have examples of any multiplex with this frontage?
No, I don't have. They were all for detached dwellings, and I will concede that they were for detached.
Okay. Questions from other panel members? No? If there's no other questions, I'm going to take it into committee.
Mr. Chair, I have a question or / comment.
Sure.
And it might be for Madam DST. If the third variance is, to use the word separated out, what would be the notice requirements for the already scheduled January hearing?
So just to clarify, we do not have an application yet, or two new applications that they would be required to submit. Nothing has been scheduled for January.
Oh, I thought.
They're assuming, I guess.
They're assuming they'll get it in January. It may not even make it to January.
We don't have anything yet. They would have to give us 2 new zoning reviews because there would be one for the garden suite, and the variance that's in question here about the number of units has been identified on the zoning review for the main house. So they'll still have to ensure that they give us 2 zoning reviews.
And all of that would fall into the same notice pattern for the neighborhood and so forth.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just want to make one comment related to parking. And we all know that parking is no longer a requirement anywhere in the city of Toronto. But parking, and particularly overnight parking, is not treated the same way throughout the city of Toronto currently. Suburban areas such as this part of Etobicoke does not have permits for overnight parking. And I always find that concerning in these applications, because although the bylaw is the same, the reality is not the same throughout the city.
I would tend to agree with the chair on this. I mean, we are talking about Etobicoke, South Etobicoke, and I don't think there's any subway station that is that close
No.
to this build. And this is a new concept for us, multiplexes, and it's incumbent on us as a committee to get it right. And my feeling right now is that this is an overbuild for this site, particularly when you factor in the garden suite. I would absolutely be refusing the garden suite, first of all. But I'm also thinking that to actually build, to do a severance and then to build 2 multiplexes with 4 units each with no parking, to me, that's just bad planning. So, I'm leaning towards refusal.
Okay,
You're suggesting it's too much building on too little lot?
yep.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, is someone ready for a motion?
I think we're asking too much of this site. I think Mr. Choles has a point. I just think that this is not the right proposal for this particular site. So I do think it's an overbuild and an overreach. So I will be, even though there's nothing from community planning, I will be making a motion. I am making a motion for refusal on that basis.
Thank you, Ms. Alderson. Is there a seconder? Mr. Ross? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the application is refused on a split vote. 4 to 1, sorry. Bill. Okay. Next application is item 26. This is 254 Birmingham Street, and it is an application to obtain consent to sever a portion of a lot for the purposes of a lot addition. The related applications are for the severed properties where there is a request to construct new semi-detached fourplex on each of the severed properties. One would result in 3 variances, the other would result in 2 variances. Forestry is requesting conditions 1 and 3, and we have no other comments.
Mr. Chair, just to bring to your attention, there is an area resident in Chambers that is not on your list, but is on my list.
Okay, thank you. Franco Romano is the agent, and Mr. Romano, if you could give us a presentation, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Franco Romano, Action Planning 321 Lakeshore, and if staff can bring up my presentation slides, I can walk through my presentation. Excellent, thank you very much. This colorful graph has our slide at the top has the reference plan, and at the bottom has a site plan, and the colors are the same. So at the top, there is a blue rectangle. That is an existing lot of record. That is part 5. And just below that blue rectangle is an orange rectangle, which is part 4. The proposal is to take part 4 from 254 Birmingham Street and attach it to part 5, and therefore create 2 lots upon which a semi-detached fourplex is to be constructed. On the site plan, you'll see that part 2 along the light green along the bottom, which is the west, is a right-of-way. So there's a right-of-way with the adjacent number 256 Birmingham. That right-of-way is not being used as part of the driveway for the westerly semi-detached. And so what happens there is there is a landscape variance of 3.91 square meters for parts 2 and part 3. Otherwise, there is one variance for lot size, which is lot frontage of 6.51 meters, whereas 7.5 meters is required. That is a 99 centimeter difference. The lot area complies with the zoning bylaw. And what we'll see on the next slide, if staff can go to slide number 2, is that the site is located within an area on a street that has a mixture of detached, semi-detached, and apartment building residential. If we go a little further to the, on the bottom of the slide, we have Kipling Avenue, which is a block to the west. If we go a little further to the east, we're going to have a mixture of residential and employment lands. There are employment lands that abut Birmingham. If we go to slide number 3, we'll see that that mixture of building types is within the same block and on adjacent blocks as well. The block opposite the subject site on the south side of Birmingham, those properties front onto 17th and 16th Street. They don't front onto Birmingham Street. So the site has got a bit of a unique neighborhood context in terms of building types. We go to the next slide, slide number 4. We'll see that in terms of lot frontage, 50% of the lots have a lot frontage of 7.5 meters or smaller. Actually, next door, the 2 semi-detached that are next door to the west, 256 and 258, they are 6.0 to 6.22 meters wide in lot frontage. Then we have 8.1, 7.0. Then if we jump across 17th Street on the north side, between 17th and Kipling, those are all apartment buildings, and that's why they're larger than 9 meters. On the opposite side, which is the south side of Birmingham, we have lots that are 7 to 7.5 meters. Of those 4 dwellings that front onto Birmingham. So what is being proposed here fits well within not only the lot size, lot frontage, lot area, but also the building type, which is semi-detached. In terms of side yard setback, if we go to the next slide, please, slide number 5, we'll see that it's quite common to have side yard setbacks of 0.9 meters, less than 0.9 meters. That's about 79% of properties, regardless of the building type. And I'm not counting the 0 meter side yard setback on a semi-detached. If we go to the next slide, slide number 6, we'll see side yard setbacks less than 1.2 meters are on 86% of those dwellings. So what is being proposed here is a side yard setback on one side of 0.91 meters and on the other side of 1.04 meters. And that's consistent with not only the urban fabric, but what's next door as well. I would submit that from a lot size perspective and from a building layout, built form, the proposal satisfies all of the consent criteria and is minor in nature with no unacceptable adverse impacts. That's my presentation. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Armeno.
You're welcome.
Any questions from panel members? No? Okay. I don't have any either. There's no other speakers?
Mr. Chair, there is a speaker.
There is? Okay.
Yes, in chambers here. Alexander?
Good afternoon. I'm Alexander Plessa. I reside at 256 Birmingham Street. I'm the current owner of the house.
Sorry, what's your address?
256 Birmingham Street. So I'm, I guess, the affected house that's just west of 254. It's a semi-detached. I think it was built in the 20s, so it's over 100 years old.
And so you're right next door.
Yes. Yeah. And I know they're calling it right away. As far as I know, it's a mutual driveway. I don't know if it's a difference in opinion or wording. It is a smaller driveway, so any reducing in size, yeah, you would not be able to get a vehicle down there. But at present, I've seen vehicles go down this driveway. Say it's not being used, correct, it's not being used as a driveway. It could be used as a driveway. By making the house even bigger, you're not going to have a driveway there. I mean, the sheer size of this thing, I'm not sure. You're comparing it to the next block over, but the block that it's presently on, I think all the levels, all the all the houses are the same level. As this variance would make this house much, much larger, I think it would definitely intrude on privacy, even just simple light, sunlight. This thing is going to be huge. And the variance in the front, this you're going to be removing any driveway space, any parking space. There's not even going to be any, you couldn't even park a car in front. There's no parking on Birmingham because they have dedicated bike lanes, which makes it a no stopping at all times anyway. So as a semi-detached multiplex, I'm not sure what it's even considered, but now you're putting a huge amount of traffic for this one. I guess it would be a regular detached house, which it was originally built as a bungalow. It was altered to a duplex with a separate entrance to the upstairs. So this house was never meant to be what it is as a duplex, even historically. It was granted, I think, under historical, it was grandfathered in as a duplex. I think he asked for variance in the past on this property and was denied. I think he wanted to make it a triplex or something at the time. It's a single dwelling house. And again, they want to make a monster of a house on a basically, not even a house, I guess, apartment complex on a property that's a residential house. You know, I think compared to Elder, there was the last variance, similar area just down the street. It's the same thing. You know, our houses are old. They are very old, you know, and they're putting these monsters up next to it. So.
Don't go away.
Oh, okay.
Sir, did you say you were at 256?
That's right.
You're at 256, but 252 looks like it could be a fourplex right at the corner.
Yes.
It is a fourplex?
I don't know what it's classified as.
It's looks like a small
Yeah.
apartment building.
Yeah.
So right on the other side of
Yeah.
you.
As far as the way I was understanding through the paperwork here, that they would change it to a 3-story plus a basement.
Yeah.
I mean, that's bigger than that next building right next to it. That fourplex is, I think, 3 with including the basement. Yeah.
3 including the basement, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So are you the owner of 256?
Yes.
Okay, and do you use that mutual driveway?
I park my car at the front.
Okay.
The house has been vacant for, I think, over 30 years now. The house hasn't been lived in.
The one that's being proposed to be?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah,
that's my
Do you have
car there.
access to the back of your property from that driveway?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, that's my access.
Okay. So that's your only access?
Yes. Because it is a semi-detached.
Right.
Because, yeah, you can't see it on the other side. Yeah,
Yeah, and the interesting thing here with the proposal is that, I mean, the right-of-way is a right-of-way. They can't take that away from you.
Yeah.
But it terminates before the end of what they're proposing. So I want to come back to the applicant around questions around that. And yeah, that was really my main issue. So what's the width of the driveway? Is it 2 meters or?
No, it's less than 2 meters. 1.9 meters, I think, by this. I think that's what it said. I'm not sure. It's pretty narrow. It is narrow.
Okay, they're saying 3 meters in total.
Oh, is it? No, it's not 3 meters wide. That's 10 feet, correct?
It's less than that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
As you can see my Jeep there, I mean, that would be challenging to get that down. It could be done.
Yeah.
If I folded in the mirrors and drove very slowly.
Okay.
So you were saying 254 has been vacant for how many years?
I'm assuming 30 years. I mean,
Wouldn't you
that's
like
top
to
of
see some sort of development happen there or improvement to the property?
the problem with this property was when it was operating as as somebody living there. It was a rooming house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that was known very well by the Toronto Police.
Okay.
So I when it was shut down, I didn't mind that.
Yes, but now it's fallen into disrepair.
Correct. But I think it would be nice to see a family living there.
You might wind up with a few.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If we get Mr. Romano back, or is there anyone else?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'm back, Mr. Chairman. If staff can bring up the site plan, please. And keep in mind that Jeep that's parked there on the concrete, please. The staff can bring up the site plan drawing. And zoom in just to the site. Thank you kindly. Appreciate it. So this site plan shows the right of way, and Birmingham is off to the right. And we'll see from the bottom, and it's written upside down. Part 1 is on 256. Part 2 is on the subject site. And you'll see that the building does not start even abutting part 2. So the proposed building does not overlap, nor does it abut the right of way. So where that Jeep is parked, which is upon that right of way, so it is parked in a location where it's not supposed to be parked, because that right of way is to be open and accessible at all times for pedestrian and vehicular access. That vehicle can traverse over part 1 and part 2 and access the rear yard garage that is located at 256, and you'll see the rear yard garage on that survey on the left-hand side, bottom left. The proposal is not interfering whatsoever with the right-of-way, and the proposal has, despite the City of Toronto passing a zoning bylaw that says that residential does not require any parking spaces, the proposal accommodates 2 parking spaces on each lot, one in the driveway and one in an integral garage. And that driveway that is being proposed, we will see it's got a 5.88 meter front yard setback. That 5.88 meter setback is larger than the 4.5 meter setback in the front that the current dwelling has. So while the current condition does not accommodate a driveway on private property or parking space on a driveway on private property, the proposal will accommodate a parking space on the driveway in front of the garage. So there's no impact in terms of vehicular access or vehicular parking. Birmingham, despite all of that, Birmingham has transit services, as does Kipling, which is 1 block away. In addition, the dwelling itself.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Mann, I just want to clarify something. So you're proposing a garage on both part 3 and part 4?
There's an integral garage as part of each semi-detached, yes.
Okay, because the one on part 4 and 5 is labeled as a 1-car garage. The other one is not. So is
the way. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. So the way the site plan was submitted is in accordance with the city's submission requirements, which is you're only supposed to show the details for one.
So can you show us
law.
the detail for the other one?
Yeah, if staff can bring up the other site plan, hopefully it's in the agenda package.
So in your package, you do have 2 sets of plans for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. They show the mirror image. And it is
the outline is, thank you, Barb. The outline is exactly the same. It's a mirror image. So
Okay, so you're proposing 2 new driveways then?
No, we're getting into a little bit of a complicated discussion here because there is a driveway on both sides of this entire parcel, because there are 2 lots of record here. There's an existing driveway that's located on the east side because that goes to part 5. And then there's an existing driveway on the west side, which is next to the where the proposed driveway is located.
Okay, but you're referring to the mutual drive. In addition to the mutual drive, is there going to be a new driveway next to that mutual drive?
Yes, sir. If you look at the site plan.
That's what I'm looking at. And that's,
Staff is bringing up I guess this is my as of right construction. Yeah. Oh, terrific.
okay, that's the one I want to see. Okay.
Zoom in to the lower right, you'll see it says proposed driveway.
Yeah.
This is why there's a landscape variance on this lot, on this part of the proposal, because the right of way is being maintained. And there's a gap. There's a little bit of land there. You'll see there's a broken line for part 2, and then there's a little sliver of land, and then the driveway starts with the interlock.
Yeah, no, I got it. Because it just with the existing mutual drive, there's no way you're going to be able to utilize that as parking for your proposal.
No, those are meant for parking in the backyard, basically.
Yeah, and there's no way you can facilitate that with the depth of the building you're proposing.
Well, that's not the layout. I think you can do that, but it's not conducive. You'd have to extend it. That's correct. Okay, but so in terms of the building footprint itself, it's 17 meters, which is less than the 19 meters that's permitted. And in terms of building height, it's 9.8 meters, 9.9 meters to the top of the parapet, which is less than the 12 meters.
Yeah, okay, I get it. The point I'm trying to raise is that the right-of-way terminates at a certain point to the rear of the lots.
Yeah, it doesn't extend beyond the footprint of what's proposed.
Correct. So what are you, I guess I'm trying to find out for the deputant that just made his presentation, what guarantee can he have that he's going to have access to that garage?
The right-of-way is registered on title, and there's no change.
Correct, but it terminates at a point where you could put a post or a fence or something at the end of that right-of-way, and it still doesn't extend.
But that's existing, so he has to maneuver that onto his own side, not the neighbor's side, regardless of what the neighbor built.
No, understood.
Build a fence along that right-of-way. If you look at the draft R plan, he has to be able to get through the houses, and he has enough right-of-way on his own side if he could magically drive his car between.
Yep, okay.
There's space there. So in terms of setback.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I was a little bit confused because I didn't realize that we're talking 2 integral garages, 1 on each of the proposed semis. So I'm okay. You're obviously not counting on that mutual drive for parking for the development, so that's fine.
No, and there's no intent to interfere with that right of way. That right of way will continue to provide unfettered access to number 256.
Yep.
And if that neighbor wishes to continue to park in the front, no issues there either. So.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Sorry, I was answering your question and also continuing with my rebuttal at the same time.
No,
so
understood. I interrupted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If there's any questions regarding building envelope or height, I'm happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for the applicant or for the deputant? No. Okay. Thank you. So let's take it into committee then.
Well, with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval, as I do believe the application meets the 4 tests subject to the November 14th Environment, Climate, and Forestry memo.
Okay. You've got the forestry conditions? Sorry? Okay. And the usual condition, ECS?
ECS doesn't have.
They didn't have any.
Just standard.
Advisory only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because there are already lots of record. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Seconder?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Laura. All in favor?
Mr. Chair, I'll vote in favor of that, and I'll note that on the record, the owner has indicated free access to the neighbor on the
On the mutual drive?
mutual driveway.
Okay. Thank you. It's unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Armano. And thank you to the deputy. Does anyone want a break, or shall we continue on? Okay. Item 27. 119 Islington Avenue, Parts 3 and 4. This is an application to construct a new detached triplex and a new detached garage with a garden suite above in the rear yard. There are 14 variances being requested. And can we do this together with item 28?
Mr. Chair, before we do that, I wanted to bring to your attention, there is an area resident that wants to speak to item number 27.
Okay,
I technically don't have them on my list for item number 28.
okay.
But that doesn't,
That's fine. Let's do them separately, and then we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay, so transportation had conditions prior to this item being deferred. I'm assuming they're still applicable. And that's it.
You're doing 27 now?
We're doing 27 now. Sorry, just trying
Yeah,
to
there's
find my speakers
transportation and
list here.
forestry.
Hmm? Oh, and
Transportation.
forestry has conditions 2, was requesting conditions 2 and 3. Too much paper flipping. Okay, I'm getting confused. Okay, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Justin Gianu, and I am here on behalf of Eno Investments Limited and Black Marlin Management Limited regarding the properties at 1199 and 1201 Islington Avenue. So just a quick overview of our proposal. It involves constructing 2 triplex buildings, each with a garden suite located at the rear of the property. We will construct a new driveway to provide access to the garden suites through 2 consent applications. We're not changing the property lines. It's just an easement to allow for vehicular and pedestrian access to the garden suite. Back in August, we deferred because we took another look at our arborist report, and we looked at if we can retain some more trees, and we were able to. So this is reflected in our new site plan as well as our arborist report. We were able to retain 3 different trees. Yeah, just a quick summary. Happy to discuss. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question which I forgot to ask our Deputy Secretary Manager earlier. Are angular planes still variances under the current bylaw? I thought those were eliminated.
It was at the beginning of the year. We did the zoning review at the beginning.
Because I'm not sure you need those variances anymore.
We thought so too, but we just went with the zoning review we
To be
had.
safe, yeah. I meant to ask you on our briefing meeting, but I forgot.
It's my understanding that for the most part, they've been eliminated. I don't want to tell the applicant which ones. So
No.
if it turns out they don't need them, they're just
Understood.
extra work.
It looks like it's a whole whack of variances, and
Yeah,
I didn't
but
think.
it's not.
But it's
Because
not really?
It's Ontario Regulation 438
Yeah.
that came up by the province in November 2024. But I think they missed it, but they included it, but just keep them on, you don't need them.
Okay, well, anyway, that's fine. And the driveway, there's a shared easement?
Correct.
Okay. And the transportation conditions, are you aware of them?
Yes.
And you're okay with them?
So the transportation, can we pull up the transportation? I have the urban forestry on hand here. Are they similar?
Can somebody pull up the transportation conditions? By the time I do it, it'll be too late.
So those would be applicable for the consent applications, which aren't before you today.
So those don't apply?
No.
No, okay. Okay, so we're good. Any other questions? No. Any other deputants on this item?
Yes, we have one area resident that would like to speak. Deborah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Deborah. Thank you for letting me speak, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I am a resident on the other side of 1199 Islington. I am at 32 Moncton. I'm at the corner house. I don't know if you can see it in the drawing, but we only have a small piece of 1199 that sort of abuts onto our backyard there. My husband and I we looked at the garden suite. Our concern mostly is the back part of the proposed plan. It is very close to the fence and the border between all the houses. And I guess traditionally, you know, backyards just kind of back into backyards. And so it's very similar, the continuity of, you know, not having something obstructing your view and just getting a giant wall or whatever is not something that I guess this neighborhood really has much of. We're probably unique because we are so close to Islington, and this is sort of happening based on I guess the new laws and whatnot. But the way that I guess the concern we have is how close that back garden suite building is to the line. There isn't really any space for use. The space back there seems, I mean, I can't tell how wide it actually is, but it just also seems very narrow to actually make use of it in any way. And our concern is that it will sort of become this untended dead space that nobody is going to clean up, nobody is going to care about, and all that will happen because we have a backyard and so do our neighbors, is that everything just kind of flows over to our end because we don't have any buildings blocking anything. We don't have anything we don't have anything in the back basically. So, you know, I'm concerned having restaurants near on Bloor there, you know, we have pests, we have seen rats in the area. It's not common, I suppose, but I don't imagine that, you know, that they don't live around here. And I'm concerned with having so little space in the back that we would attract pests or whatever because it might not be maintained because it's not a used space really. I don't know going forward, more for longevity's sake, after they sell the property, once it's built, I don't know what their intention is. It was kind enough for the developers to speak with us last time to get us to help us understand what was being done. And it sounds like they don't necessarily, it sounds like it might be a rental type of situation. And so I don't know going forward how the maintenance will be done. And we don't have any guarantee of that. So our concern is mostly around that because it is sort of a weird dead space in that back. And, you know, instead of having like a backyard backing onto a backyard, we're more like backyard backing onto directly a house, really.
Okay.
That's our main concern. We're not opposing like multi-unit buildings and whatnot. I do recognize that Islington's kind of a hard sell. You know, you're going to pay $1 million and then spend another $1 million. Who's going to pay $2 million for a tiny house? You know, but you know, the rest of us on the other side, we don't have that type of situation for our homes, and so I think that it would become a potential problem.
Okay, so you're not concerned about overlook issues or seeing the property. Your concern is essentially the space that's going to be between the lot and the property.
Well, we do have some concerns that it's so close. Like, I mean, the reality is that it's also very tall. And now and we're all bungalows on the other end, I think, except for one house. But anyway, myself and my next door neighbors at 30 or whatever, we're bungalows. So those garden suite people are just going to look into our backyard. I have a young child, and sure, I'm a, you know, corner lot and whatnot, but it still feels very unsettling to sort of have somebody, you know, look out the window and they're looking down on you all the time or whatever the case might be. So we do have that concern as well. But I think that also is correlated to the fact that it's so close to the back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your definition of so close?
That's kind of hard to say, I guess. I mean, I'm not a planner or anything. I just guess I'm sort of used to, a backyard backing onto yet another backyard, or at least if somebody has a detached garage or something like that, it's not that close. Like you can't see it for the most part. And maybe that has to do with the fact that a garage is lower, right? So maybe somebody does have a garage further in the back. We just can't see it. So, I mean, that's sort of, I'm not really sure how to explain it. I don't know how close is too close. I just know that it feels a little bit encroaching on our space, really.
Okay. Are there any other speakers, Paul?
I was on the list to speak as well.
For this item?
Yes, and you mentioned there's only one person, but I was here last time.
Come on up. Come on up. Just get your name and address, please.
John Saturno, 160 Meadowvale Drive. There's a lot to mention here. I was initially involved in the planning of this a few years ago. They were the owners, Development. I think they approached me to purchase my property, and they approached me way back 2017, and I wasn't ready, but I was kind of ready a year and a half ago, and we were trying to have some discussion about doing something,
Sorry,
but they already
Islington?
made the plans. They already made these plans, and there's problems with the plans I can see already just by looking at it. I got a whole list of things. I already had problems with the owner when they had some landscapers to clear up place, and they were encroaching on my property. Workers were driving into my driveway. There was all kinds of issues. So basically, I have it all summed up here. Number one, construction interference on the adjacent properties, including high probability of illegal access, debris field, illegal parking, and obstruction to neighboring properties.
Can I get you to focus on what is being proposed as opposed to construction issues? 'Cause we don't deal with
the other thing is there's two unnecessarily long driveways that have a combined 100 square meters of wasted space that could be used for better use of the land. But you could see just by looking at it, it's very outdated design where you have a garage way in the back, and people have to access quite a distance to get to the back. So there's that's valuable land that should be used appropriately. If my property was involved, they could have used Meadowvale as access to the garages, and it would have been a very short distance, and they could have doubled the amount of land use, to build something more appropriate than this sort of awkward setup they have here, especially with the garden suites, which I agree with the other neighbor that it looks out of place, and then it encroaches, hanging over neighboring properties at a very close range. There's very little privacy and so on and so forth. It's very poor design. I'm not too crazy about, if you have a chance to do something else, why do a garden suite? And I think it was because they didn't have the space. They could have used my property for space, and they were wanting my property more than they actually wanted these two properties. They had some.
You should have sold it. It's a little bit late.
Well, they asked for it like 9 years ago, or 8 years. Sorry, 2017. And I wasn't ready to sell. I was, they were, ready.
C'est la vie. We have what we have.
I know, but I'm saying I was in touch with them but they were kind of, I couldn't get a hold of these people, and I wanted to work some deal out, and so I even had this person, Justin, he approached me, but
you're
then
kind
he
of
didn't want
wasting
to.
your time right now, so I'm going to ask you to summarize what your concerns are with this development.
Well, basically, I'm thinking they could do a better. Something better than what's designed there, something more efficient, better use of the neighborhood. The way it's set up, it's just very inefficient, and probably potentially create a huge parking hazard, especially on my side, because there's a lot of excess vehicles that park on the street illegally, and I'm sure with tenants or whatever that might be filling up that area, I would be having issues. I also have a access to the mutual. It was like a mutual drive on 1199. My back door I'd be able to go to my backyard through there, but now with a building pressed right up against mine, I'd be very tightly confined. I won't be able to access as easily as I was before. So that's another thing. But the point is, I would have preferred they had put more effort, more time to think about what they were doing and consider me in on it. But they just went ahead on their own without consulting with me, even though there was some consultation for years. And then in the last few years, they just went ahead with this plan. I wasn't aware.
I'm going to ask you to wrap up, please.
Yeah, okay. So basically, the main thing is I think it should be better use of space of that property and a better design. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. So, Sir, before you sit down, I have a question. So technically, you have access to not only your own driveway on Meadowvale, but also the mutual drive at 1199. Is that correct?
The access is for the back door to maintain my property. There's gutters that you have to work on. You have to get a ladder. It'd be so narrow I wouldn't even be able to do any repairs because I used to be able to extend access into their property. And they also, the renters at the time used to get very close to my building, so it was working both ways for us because the existing driveway was not wide enough. They had to encroach on my property, but I had no issues. It was just a mutual, driveway as far as I was concerned. But mine was more for pedestrian use and access to my property for maintenance.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to clarify, I feel like that's more of a neighborly agreement. There's no right of way on.
No, except his back door goes right out into that right of way.
Yeah, but I mean, he can put a walkway on his property for what's left on his property, because I believe there's.
Well, there is sort of like a walkway, it's an asphalt, but they would kind of have to cut
But
the
that doesn't mean that was a mutual drive. It doesn't mean you have any rights to their property.
Well, I mean, it was just narrow. Technically, I had a very narrow access.
Correct.
But they accessed, in the past, they accessed my side of the driveway with vehicles because it was asphalted right across. And, there was just it was basically 3/4 their driveway and 1/4 mine.
Okay, but so let's not rehash history. That's not why we're here. Thank you.
Okay.
0.6 of a meter. Yeah, I mean, I've got a similar situation at home. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, we were not aware of any easements on title for 1199 Islington. Then going back to the garden suites at the back there, we did not want to get variance for the rear yard setback, so to encroach into our neighbors. So that's why we're seeking a variance for the minimum separation between a residential building. We did not want to go any further back into the rear than we had to. We understand it's a little tight, but we do comply, and that is why we took this back. We deferred, and back in August, we were able to retain some of those trees back there, as you can see, 9, 10, and 11 that are circled, providing some trees for some coverage. We do also, we're going to look at getting a landscape company to regularly tend to the property. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, let's take this into committee then. As I say, I would have liked to have done both of them together, but so we have forestry requesting conditions, and we have 14 variances, which are probably not 14 variances, but
No,
that's what we got.
it's a fraction of them. So with that, I would like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the August 7th, 2025 transportation memo and the November 14th.
No, the transportation memo is not going to come into it.
Say again?
Transportation is not going to come into it.
Oh, that's right. So it's just the environment, climate, forestry memo dated November 14, 2025.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that motion.
Thanks, Laura. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you, and don't go away. So, item 28, very similar to item 27, 1201 Islington Avenue for the other two parts, to construct a new detached triplex with a new detached garage, a garden suite above in the rear yard. Again, 14 variances, which are probably not 14 variances. Ravenna Natural Forest Protection has some advisory comments. Forestry, not so happy on this one. They were originally asking for refusal or settling now for condition 2. And Forestry Natural, and they also have some advisory comments. I don't think you need to do a presentation. I think it's,
right.
We kind of know where we're at. So are there any questions? No? Are there any other speakers?
Nothing on the list for this exact item, but if you'd like to hear from those other two for the last item, we could again, but.
That's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you. Take it to committee then. Just my own comment I'd like to make, and you know, we're seeing a lot of applications for multiplexes, and you know, on a major street like Islington, I think is where it makes sense. So I actually like this. And this applicant is not trying to not provide any parking, as a number of other ones have. So, anyone ready for a motion?
Sure. I'll go for number 2. Well, the
Sure.
mirror application. So again, I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to, now there's 2 competing sets of comments here, so I'm just going to note both of them. There's the October 31st tree protection plan review and November 14th environment, climate, and forestry memo. So they can bad let out
Okay.
which conditions they want to impose.
I'll second that motion.
Thanks, Laura. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval.
Thank you.
Do we want a break or do we want to continue? Yeah, I'm good with that. Are you guys good?
Staff's good, I think.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. Item 29, 142 Thompson Avenue. This is an application to construct a second-story addition above the existing dwelling, a new covered front porch, a new deck in the rear yard. There are 3 variances being requested. TRCA has advisory comments. We have a letter of objection, or I would say a letter of concern from number 140. Yeah, that's it. 29. Danielle?
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Okay, we would like a presentation on this, if you're good to go.
Sure.
Okay.
Good afternoon, committee and committee members. Thank you for your time here today. My name is Daniel Vinciani, and I'm the agent representing the owners for 142 Thompson Avenue. I would like to start by saying that the property falls under TRCA regulatory flooding and valley corridor associated with the Mimico Creek watershed. We have been working closely with TRCA since February to ensure that the proposed work provides adequate floodproofing and can withstand the impact of storm events from a hazard management perspective.
Just going to get you to speak up a little bit.
Sure. The property has experienced flooding in the past, resulting in damages to the basement and significant financial hardship to the homeowners. As part of the TRCA review, strengthening the structural integrity of the existing foundation wall at the rear and partially on the sides of the house was deemed acceptable and compliant with TRCA floodproofing policies. This requirement directly resulted in a reduced side yard variance, which we are seeking variance for, of 0.87 meters. Because this is an existing condition and the TRCA imposes strict limitations on excavations, the only feasible option for additional living space is a second-story addition, which we feel is a form of development as of right and is consistent throughout the neighborhood. I have provided committee with supporting decisions and photographs of nearby properties, number 138, 139, and 146 Thompson Avenue. 139 and 146 Thompson both exceed the wall height and the overall height. And as well, I would like to note that number 95 Thompson Avenue was approved earlier today with an overall building height of 9.5 meters. Following the committee's recommendation at our previous meeting, we met with the neighbors at 140 Thompson Avenue and listened to their concerns and made meaningful modifications to the plans, including redirecting the drainage of the downspouts to the rear of the property, as well as the sump pump, and also reducing the building height by 20 centimeters to maintain consistency with the approval at 138 Thompson Avenue, thereby minimizing potential impact. I feel that the variances in front of you are minor in nature, appropriate for the neighborhood, and meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from panel members? No, okay. So we're going to ask you to sit down for a minute. And is Richard Carter here?
My name is Richard Carter, here with my wife Gail Carter, owners of 140 Thompson Avenue. Good afternoon, and the chair and members, thank you for the opportunity to share our concerns regarding the significant impact foreseen to our property at 140 Thompson Avenue, resulting from the minor variance permission request proposed for 142 Thompson, and offer suggested conditions to mitigate the impact. We are the neighbors immediately adjacent to the west of the subject property and lived in our home for over 30 years. We share lived experience with several small residential renovations in the neighborhood, including the house to the west of us at 138 Thompson. And with the help of a past committee of adjustment, we were able to reduce the impact of the proposed variances and hope to do the same today for 142. We would like to share our specific concerns relating to the three proposed variances. With reference to the minimum required side yard setback and minimum aggregate side yard setback, it should be noted that the property has historically experienced overland flooding on the west side yard from the road via the front yard and not from the creek located in the rear yard, as you might think, and as evident in the YouTube video Toronto Flood July 8, 2013, Thompson Avenue. Mimico Creek overflowed its banks around the bend in Thompson Avenue where Meadowcrest ends and cascaded down Thompson Avenue before flowing from the front of the properties on the south side of Thompson Avenue out to the creek in their rear yards. Even as recently as last year in 2024, the owners of 142 experienced the negative impact of the water sewage in their home and are certainly aware of the need for overland water mitigation with various flood protection features in their plans, but nothing we could find regarding water flow between the properties and hopefully a reasonable discussion in terms of potential impact of our property at 140 with the proposed variances. We're especially concerned about the impact in terms of interruption and or diversion of surface and groundwater between the properties, given the indicated expansion of a section of the foundation on the west side yard of the property as detailed in drawing S1 and stamped by a professional engineer, especially in terms of new issues with water flow dissipation between the two properties and groundwater flowing below grade. Already evident on the west side yard has been the overflow from the eaves, and now proposed alterations include the placement of 2 additional downspouts not historically present on the property, as seen in drawing A6, and now to be added, see drawing A15, all discharging to the west side yard, further adding to increased runoff from rain hitting the new second floor wall and any discharge from the sump pump, all of which only increase the volume of water between the properties. It should be noted, the grade of the west side yard, as provided on the survey submitted with the application, is essentially flat, providing little opportunity for natural runoff. The two new downspouts discharging on the west side yard should either not be permitted or redirected. We greatly appreciate the owner's willingness to connect these downspouts to below-grade piping along with discharge of their sump pump, and simply ask that this be formalized and documented as a condition of approval. It should be noted that we have enjoyed unobstructed morning sunshine through our east windows facing the west elevation of the subject property, and proven mental health benefits, not to mention long-term enjoyment of our property. We ask that the drawing of A12 from the supporting documentation be put on the screen if possible. If that's available. A12?
Yeah, we'll bring it up. Just
Thank you.
A bit of a lag, I think.
Okay. So what I wanted to illustrate there is on that drawing is a dotted line outline of the existing house at 142, overlaid on the proposed two-story. But what isn't shown in the elevation are the adjacent bungalows on either side. If we take the underside of the existing ceiling or the eaves, which I believe are about the same level, of 142 as shown on the drawing, and visualize the line extended horizontally across to our house at 140 Thompson, one can see the eaves underside of our home 40 to 50 centimeters lower. That's 7 bricks roughly, so it's a visual count. At this point, even though the ground level between the properties is higher, our home is 40 to 50 centimeters lower at the eaves. The ground, and thereby making the impact of our property of the added height variance beyond the bylaw even greater in reality than the numbers on paper, and believe the addition of a second story to this home will overshadow our home, blocking sunlight, not to mention negative impact of light pollution from under the eaves lights that may be installed. The property owners of 142 Thompson are keenly aware of our unique situation with our home having windows on that side, and respectfully ask this committee, before making any decisions on the proposed variances, to address the height impact to sunshine along our east wall facing 142. Of note is our single-story bungalow sidewall facing the neighboring house west wall. We have 2 partially below-grade basement windows, 4 windows on our main floor facing the west wall elevation, providing sunlight to our kitchen, dining room, 2 main floor bedrooms, basement rec room, and we believe in the absence of a sun shadow analysis will be significantly impacted by the proposed height variances indicated. It should be noted the existing home at 142 Thompson has roughly 10 windows and 1 skylight, where the proposed alteration will result in the home having approximately 19 windows plus at least 2 skylights. Does this suggest to you someone that doesn't appreciate or understand the value of sunlight?
I'm going to ask you to wrap up.
Okay, so why at our expense is it okay to deny us the sunlight? This doesn't really fit the good neighbor policy, and as such, we would ask for a sun shadow study. And lastly, we understand the agent has supplied you with images and reference past decisions in the neighborhood, and simply ask the committee if they can identify for us which of these are actually relevant in reviewing the proposed variance, which I'm sure some are.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to
Thank
wrap
you.
up again nicely.
Done. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away. So in terms of what your concerns are with respect to the actual variances, the only one I'm really hearing is the height variance, which I believe is 0.45 of a meter. So are you suggesting that if it was a half meter less, you would not be impacted?
If it was to the bylaw, I would not be concerned. I'm also saying if we could do a sun shadow study to confirm the impact, that would be helpful.
Okay. Do you know what the west side yard setback is on your property?
I believe it's, just check I want to say 48 inches, but I can confirm. And I know it's on the plan for the other. It actually does not show on my drawing, but roughly 4 feet. And again, it's on the drawing of the plan for the proposed.
I'm not sure it is, but let's pull that up.
You're right. I see that it's not specifically shown there. I'm actually surprised it's not on our drawing.
Because to me, it looks about the same as what
Oh,
they're
sorry.
proposing.
It's 1.231 and 1.225. 1.225 at the north end of our property and 1.231 at the south side.
Is that on the drawing somewhere?
That's on my survey of my property. It's not shown. This is absent on the, I guess, the survey from the proposal.
So you're 1.2,
Yes, 1.225 and 1.231.
and they're proposing essentially 1 or 0.9.
Where their wall will be up, yes.
Okay, and is that an existing situation?
Their current ground floor wall, yes, it's existing.
So that's not changing, okay.
No, other than some overlay that they may add to it, it's not.
Well, the height is going to change.
The height
but
is
the
gonna-
physical location of the wall is not changing.
Other than the addition of the foundation, but I don't think there's wall above that. There's not first floor wall, I don't believe, above their structural foundation to meet Turca rules.
Okay.
Requirements.
And the applicant had mentioned that they had agreed to redirect some of the downpipes. Are you saying that what they agreed is not in fact what you were asking for?
I'm saying I'm in favor of what they're agreeing as long as it's documented and actually can be held and be done. There's no drainage plan for this property. They're going to be excavating that side of the property to do the foundation. And I thought a drainage plan would be required, so they have an opportunity to improve the flow of water between the houses. My big concern is water. We know the neighborhood.
We understand that, but we don't specifically deal with water.
Correct.
At this committee.
But
all I'm asking is, you had some discussions with them. They undertook to do some things for you. And are you contradicting what?
No, I will accept what they are doing, but I'm asking, can it be put as a condition of the approval so that we have something in writing to go back on?
So you're happy with what they proposed to you?
If they're not directing water to our property.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you specifically what they proposed to you. Are you happy with that?
It's a verbal saying they're going to divert it to the back of the property. What does that look like? Your guess is as best as mine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? No. Are there any other speakers?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'll get the applicant back.
Yes.
You have a chance to rebut or respond to what the neighbor has just presented, if you wish.
So during our meeting, the neighbor did point out concerns with the drainage, and in fact, I did mention that grading plan is not required because this is an addition. If this was a new construction, then by default, we would be required a grading plan. And he recommended that the water should go to the rear, which we obliged and said, sure, we have no problem with that. And in case you would like to do a grading plan, I said it's best that both owners come to an agreement together. They could hire a grading consultant, and then they could go from there.
Okay, so you wouldn't be opposed to a condition saying that the downpipes need to be directed towards the rear of the property?
No, I actually put them on the drawings.
Okay.
So I'm not opposed to
Well, I know you've put them on the drawings, but we're not approving drawings specifically, we're approving the variances. So
Exactly.
that gives you an opportunity to change the drawings. But if we put a condition on, then you have to follow the condition. So that's why I'm asking.
Yes, so the whole point with the meeting was to alleviate concerns.
No, understood, understood. And if you're still okay with that, then
Yes,
just want to make sure everybody's on
yes,
the
I'm
same
okay
page.
with it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
I mean, the addition is a modest addition. The impact is minimal. Essentially, the variance that's being required for the side yard setback, it's essentially a waterproofing job. And we just want to make sure that we kind of thicken the wall from the outside to cover all the gaps from the existing cinder block that's there, and kind of can withstand more of the flood elevation that can happen in the future. So Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions from panel members?
Yeah, so if we do tie it to the drawings, I'm looking at the site plan now. And the date on it is July 2025. That's the latest and greatest.
Can you pull it up on the screen, please?
We'll put it up on the screen here as best we can.
Not seeing the note there, but I have the notes about redirecting the drainage on the elevations. So yeah, so probably be best if you want to tie it to the elevations.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, they're
members.
July 2025 too.
Yeah, the files, we have July there.
Okay.
Have you involved ML&S because they have a rule that you must maintain the water on your own property?
Yes, that's a given. The water must be contained on our property. This went for a second round through the TRCA and their engineering department, and they were okay with it. They have no objection to it.
Okay.
And you'll also need to get a TRCA permit, right?
Of course,
Or do you
yes.
have it now?
So initially, we did a concept development application with them to see how they would look at the project, and a little bit of back and forth. But after we came to an agreement with the design, pretty much we're ready to move forward with TRC.
Okay. And then all that'll be wrapped in your building permit application as well, so.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've beaten this one enough. Ready to take it into committee?
So with that, I'd move a motion for approval and tie it to the July 2025 drawings that are on file, and there are no other conditions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. So we're tying it to the elevations as they relate to the water discharge.
I just don't see those notes. I've looked at the elevations. I don't see where they are.
On the elevations,
On the revised elevations?
about the downspouts.
I'm sorry?
There's no notes.
There's no notes about the
It's just the way that
downspouts
they're
being redirected.
just the way they're being directed on the drawing.
No, there is a bubbling note on the elevations.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I've bubbled an area there.
On which elevation?
On both side elevations.
The side elevations?
Yes. The east and the west.
So where is the note?
Which specific drawing? A12, A13? Because I'm seeing.
It
notes
says here, connect downspouts to below grade drain pipe and drain at the rear of the property.
Correct.
I don't think you're allowed to do below grade.
You're not allowed to connect to the storm sewers,
Exactly.
but you can direct it on your own property.
Yeah. That's what
Is
we
your
ag-
backyard sloping down?
Exactly.
Yeah, see, I think that
Yeah,
flows into
so-
Mimico.
Yeah, those are the elevations.
Yeah,
that-
that's exactly what he's doing. I don't think there's an issue with that.
No.
Okay, so we're tying it to the site elevations?
Yes, please.
Okay. All in favor? Any, okay, so that's unanimous approval.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Okay, item 30. You want a break?
What do we got left here?
We have 2 items left. Both do have area residents to speak, though, for your information.
Yeah, I mean, both are going to take a little while, but it's only 2 more to go. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute. Take a 10.
Folks, we're going to take a short recess, 10 minutes. We will look to reconvene by 3:16. If we're lucky, a touch sooner.
Thank you.
Lost my seat before.
Take them. One in your pocket.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
Oh, really? Freezing it?
Yeah.
He's a lucky boy. The cooking. Oh yeah. They have a really good hot table.
Yeah.
All right, members, I think we'll look to wrap up our break and get our last two items dealt with here.
We're back on?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Okay, welcome back. We're on item 30, 15 REID MANOR. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 3 variances being requested. Planning is requesting a condition in the event of approval, and forestry is also requesting a condition regarding a city-owned tree. Jonathan Netta is the agent online.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Jonathan Netta of Netta Designs. I'm located at 22 Queen Street in Georgetown, Ontario, and I'm representing the homeowners of 15 REID MANOR.
Okay, good afternoon. I don't think we need a full presentation. I think if you're open to questions, if we can leave it at that. Planning is tying you to drawings with regards to rear yard setback. I'm assuming you're okay with that?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. Any questions from panel members? No? Okay, and there's no other speakers?
Correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's take it into committee.
So with that, I'd like to move a motion for approval. I do believe the application meets the 4 tests, subject to the November 7th, 2025 planning memo and the November 14th environment, climate, and forestry memo.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Is there a seconder? Okay, thanks, Ms. Popovic. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you, Jonathan. So our next item is number 31, A, B, and C. This is deferred from October 9th. It is 35 LABURNHAM Avenue. It is an application to obtain consent to sever the property into 2 undersized residential lots. The severed lots would then would be requested to have two semi-detached fourplex on each lot, one requiring 5 variances, the other one requiring 6 variances. Planning is requesting a condition in the event of approval on the original application. I'm assuming that holds through for this one. We have the standard conditions of severance from engineering construction services. Heritage Planning is also requesting 4 conditions in the event of approval. Forestry, which was originally requesting refusal, is requesting for condition regarding a city-owned tree. And we have an objection from number 37. And very recently, we have an arborist report provided and a tree protection plan. Tyler Peck, welcome.
Good afternoon, thank you.
We're going to need a full presentation, given it's a severance.
If I, through the chair, can clarify with the Madam Secretary Treasurer, there are 6 variances associated with each item. It's the same list of variances for
It
both.
is? Okay.
Yes.
Is it my mistake, perhaps?
Just want to ensure that the record's correct on that.
Let me just see where I made my notes.
Thank you.
Both.
Thank you.
We'll put the public notices for the variance, the minor variances up on the screen here in a sec, just to.
I just checked my hard copy. It's correct.
So
Okay,
yeah,
thank
there's
you.
the 6 there for that one. And there's the 6 for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
My mistake.
And then if you could turn to my presentation, thank you. So good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Tyler Peck from W&D Associates with the planners and applicants for this file, 47 Roselawn Avenue. The application is for the severance of the current property and the construction of semi-detached houseplexes on the created lots. Next slide. The subject site is currently occupied by a 3-level multi-unit building. Next slide. As shown on the previous aerial photograph and these area photographs, the area is characterized by residential uses in a variety of built forms up to 4 stories in height, including semi-detached dwellings and multi-unit low-rise buildings, including stacked townhouses, for example. This context is important when reviewing the proposed consent and variances, as the proposal is compatible with both the existing and planned context of the area. Next slide. This slide provides, and our planning rationale, provides an outline of the transportation context of the neighborhood, which includes public transit and an improving cycling network. Next slide. With respect to policy, the site is within the neighborhood's designation in the official plan and the RD zone under the zoning bylaw. There are multiple neighborhood examples of existing semi-detached and multiplex buildings and built forms within the RD zone in this area. Under policy 826, multiplexes are permitted in all neighborhoods across the city. Therefore, the proposed development is a permitted use under the official plan and conforms to the OP's vision for multiplex development within neighborhoods. Next slide. The proposal is summarized here, and the application before the committee is required to implement missing middle housing in this neighborhood. Next slide. To that effect, we worked with community planning closely with respect to the implementation of their expanding housing options in neighborhoods and multiplex initiatives. Community planning staff have issued a staff report which provides their independent analysis in support of the applications. We agree with their conclusions, and staff have no objection to the proposed variances, as each, in their view, are technical and comply with the intent and purpose of the multiplex zoning bylaw. We've also worked closely with housing policy staff with respect to the tenant assistance plan and do not object to their proposed condition. Transportation services, who reviewed parking issues, development engineering, heritage planning, and Metrolinx, as noted, all have no objection, and we have no objection to their conditions. We are aware of the urban forestry comments, have filed a updated arborist report showing that there is no intention to remove the existing street tree and that there are additional tree protection measures that can be put into place, and there are no variances associated with the front of the house, the front of the multiplex rather. The walkway and the variances listed in the staff memo have no impact on the tree, and we'd recommend that the committee approve the application with urban forestry condition 1. Next slide. The proposed severance is the equal division of the existing lot to create 2 separate lots. Next slide. Thank you. Variances 5 and 6 are related to the proposed lots. A more detailed area and frontage analysis is provided in our planning rationale, but as a summary, there are existing and approved lots with areas and frontages below the bylaw requirements which exist harmoniously in this neighborhood. The proposed lots are consistent with the fabric of the street and allow for bylaw compliant side setbacks from all property lines and also allow for providing bylaw compliant amount of landscaping on the site. Next slide. Community planning agrees with this analysis and that the lots conform to the relevant official plan policies with respect to development in neighborhoods. Next slide. With respect to building type, semi-detached houseplex is now a defined building type in the zoning bylaw. Multiplex forms of development already exist in the surrounding community, including within this RD zone. The variance meets the general intent and purpose of the bylaw by implementing a permitted building type under the OP and implementing all of the built form standards for a multiplex building on the lot. Next slide. As an example of this, the building height shown here is 10 meters, and that meets the multiplex building requirements and represents a marginal difference between the permitted 9.5 meter height for any other building type, with roof lines in this case sloped to mitigate perceptions of height. Next slide. Building length, for example, at just over 18 meters is below the 19 meter permission for multiplex buildings. There are also multiple existing examples of residential buildings on the south side of LABURNHAM that are greater than 17 or 18 meters in length. Next slide. With respect to floor space index, in developing standards for multiplexes, City Council chose to exempt multiplex building types from density regulations and instead implemented form-based development controls. The proposal meets the built form standards for multiplex buildings. Therefore, the proposed density does not introduce adverse impacts or instability to the existing and planned context of the surrounding lands in which multiplexes are permitted. As noted previously, we discussed the proposal in detail with community planning staff who have no objection to the proposed variances. In conclusion, I'm noting that my time is wrapping up. The proposal provides new middle missing housing, rental housing for households in a residential neighborhood well served by a mix of amenities, including transit and cycling facilities. and they've been carefully considered, and the requested relief individually and collectively meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, as identified in the staff report as well, and I'm here to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll shoot off with the first question. Do you have any examples of multiplexes in the area with the same frontage?
With the same frontage in the area?
Or less?
Or less. So the building, the fabric of the 7.62 meters, that frontage is provided throughout the neighborhood. I don't have in front of me a specific example of a multiplex on a lot that is 7.62 meters.
I know that the area has many multiplexes, and I know that the area has lots that are smaller than what you're proposing, but I'm not sure if it actually has anything that's got a multiplex on that size of a lot.
I can't confirm that.
Okay, that's fine.
Our analysis that we worked through with city planning is that the underlying lot fabric, the proposed lots, meet the official plan criteria for lots. And then once that underlying lot fabric is in place, the multiplex form of development under the OP policies meets all of the development criteria for multiplexes within that, within the policy framework and on the new lot fabric.
Okay. And just the decision not to provide any parking, was that, just wondering what the rationale on that is and whether you feel that the market warrants that in this area?
Yep, that's a decision and a thought process that the owners have obviously given a lot of thought to. In this case, there are no variances associated with parking,
I understand there's no variances.
Yep, it's a citywide goal to reduce automobile
Yeah,
dependence.
but the city hasn't standardized overnight parking throughout the city, so
That's correct. So in this case, through the chair, leases will not include parking, so there's an expectation that residents will not have access to a parking spot. Those who wish to rent in the building will know that up front, and then will be tenanted accordingly. And as a benefit, the removal of the curb cut of the existing driveway will actually introduces new visitor parking onto the street. Marginal increase, but an increase. And we are aware that they're not directly on LABURNHAM Avenue, but there is longer-term visitor street parking and other longer-term parking available in lots within the general area of that part of Etobicoke.
So do you know the distance to municipal lots in that area?
I don't have that figure off the top of my head,
Thank
no.
And just, that's a nice segue, and do you know the distance to the nearest transit hub?
Sure. So the proposal is within walking distance of the streetcar that serves Lakeshore.
Streetcar, but not a major transit hub or a
It's
subway
not a major
station.
transit station area. No, I note that. The intent of the multiplex development is for this type of gentle intensification, both inside, as has been noted before, MTSAs. The magnitude of intensification proposed for MTSAs is greater than the magnitude that's anticipated for these types of streets and this type of development. And as noted, we meet all the built form requirements. So this is precisely the type of multiplex development anticipated for a neighborhood that has these characteristics. And the planning rationale does outline access to bus and streetcar routes as well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Mr. Agent, can you clarify what I thought I heard? In the materials, we know that on September 29th, November 7th, and November 13th, at each level, Urban Forestry recommended a denial of this application. Did you say, clarify if you did, that you've had conversations since and that they're satisfied?
So we've had back and forth with Urban Forestry. We're surprised that the memo states refusal when both arborist reports and discussions that have been had between the arborist, the architect, and Urban Forestry clearly show the intention to retain that tree and to implement tree protection measures with respect to development of the walkway. So should the committee approve the application, we'll apply condition 1 and we'll work with Urban Forestry to achieve that tree permit as required for injury only, not for removal.
Have you had conversations since November 13th?
Since the 13th, that was last week.
memo we
We have flagged that to Urban Forestry that the arborist reports clearly indicate removal is not required, and they have not opted to update their memo.
So to be clear, the tree will not be removed.
That's correct. The arborist report, twice filed with updated tree protection measures, states that the tree will be retained, And the permit that would be required is an injury permit, and that would be required to facilitate any development
That's a
on the
separate
site.
assessment on the part.
Correct.
Okay, so the arborist report says that. I just want to be clear for the record that your client is going to comply with.
Correct, yes.
Okay, seeing no more questions, if we could go to Andy Choles.
Good afternoon. I'll be referring to the data on Ms. Mercado's letter of objection from the LBNA dated on October 2nd, likely filed around the same date. Good afternoon. My name is Andy Choles, live at 12 Jasmine Avenue, Long Branch. I'm a board member of the Long Branch Neighborhood Association. I'm back to request this application be refused. The association does support the renewal of housing stock that is sensitive to the neighborhood. However, this application results in an overbuild and what's permitted on the lot and will be inconsistent with prevailing conditions in the neighborhood. This is contrary to 4.1.5 of the official plan, which states no changes will be made through rezoning, minor variance, consent, or other public action that are out of keeping with the physical character of the neighborhood. Currently, each of the two parts of this semi-detached build proposes the following, which are contrary to the policy. The building length of 18.39 or 17 meters is permitted. A lot area of 290.32. FSI of 1.46 times the building height of 10 meters. Each of these severed lots a frontage of 7.62 meters where the minimum is 12 meters, and perhaps most importantly, a semi-detached fourplex is not permitted use in the residential detached zone. We are concerned that this application replaces a low-rise triplex apartment, severs the lot, and builds two fourplexes built as a semi-detached building with a common center wall right down the property line between the two undersized lots. The final building will appear from the street to be a single eightplex building. New sixplex builds are not provided in our ward. Our councillor, Amber Morley, did not opt in for the sixplex model as the configurations on the narrow lot encourages severances and an unspecified length variance to accomplish. That seems to be what's happening at 35 LABURNHAM. The lot is being severed and the proposed buildings have length and height variances. When fourplexes were permitted as possible housing in our ward, it's doubtful that two fourplex buildings joined as a semi-detached house on a severed lot was what was envisioned. While the fourplexes are technically allowed to be built on any lot, creating new lots via severance is really too much. This committee this past July turned down an application to sever a lot at 60 30th Street and build a fourplex on each of the undersized lots. The two very tall fourplexes, not joined, but very little space in between them. The committee voted unanimously to refuse this application, with some panel members stating at the time a single triplex or fourplex on an unsevered lot would be more appropriate build. Earlier today, we heard of 35 Elder with a lot severance with a fourplex and undersized and a garden suite behind each, hardly a gentle increase in density. It would seem that many of these applications to build fourplexes keep coming up with combinations and permutations that are meant to push the limits of the bylaw. The application at 35 LABURNHAM ignores official plan 4.1.5 states the development in established neighborhoods will respect, reinforce existing physical character of each geographical neighborhood. This new lot configuration is not prevailing on LABURNHAM. Ms. Mercado's letter from the LBNA includes data on lot area and lot frontage for the entire block. Statistically, we can confirm the properties with 7.62 frontage and an area of 290 meters square are not prevailing. The applicant mentions in his materials being 2 doors away from an RS zoned area. This is a poor reason to include this property just to get overbuild approved. Even so, the properties that are in the nearby RS zone have larger lot sizes and greater lot frontages. The properties on the street that have similar frontages and lot sizes in this application don't have a fourplex built on them. The LBNA's letter includes relevant OPA policy, excerpts from the Long Branch Neighborhood Character Guidelines, and the Committee of Adjustment decision on 60 30th Street. This aspiration to be included in an RS zone seems to be an attempt to eliminate variances by doing some sort of end run around zoning bylaws. Please don't let that happen. Urban Forestry has also recommended this be denied. You've discussed that already. Approving this proposal would set a new and troubling precedent for overbuilds on narrow sites. Similar variances of this magnitude simply do not exist in the area. The combinations of variances being requested are not prevailing and fail the tests of maintaining the general intent and purpose of the official plan and bylaws. They are not desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, and they are not minor. Variance aside, this troubling application, we do not believe that the intention of the new multiplex policy to tear down existing serviceable and affordable multiplexes, evict the tenants, and build new multiplexes to allow an increase in market rent. While gentle density increase is encouraged, it should be balanced with protecting what we have. I would ask the panel to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from panel members? No? Are there any other speakers?
Oh, no, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if we get Tyler to come back up then.
Thank you. A few points of clarification on the comments. The LBNA comments do not acknowledge SAS 826, which prevails in permitting multiplex buildings in neighborhoods. It provides specific development criteria for which the proposal meets. The policy actually reads despite policy 415. In this case, the underlying lot fabric actually meets policy 415 as per the analysis undertaken by both us and city planning. We have I don't want to get into detailed numbers about prevailing character, but 71% of lots on LABURNHAM have a lot frontage that is less than the bylaw requirement. 68% of lots have lots that are less than the area requirement. This proposal is proposing a lot fabric that is perfectly in keeping with the other lots on LABURNHAM. Through the multiplex monitoring zoning bylaw updates, which were not subject to any appeals, rather, City Council did explicitly recognize the semi-detached houseplex form. This is separate from the 5- and 6-plex bylaws that were separate initiatives and under separate bylaws. We consulted with community planning staff who were responsible for implementing this bylaw. They agreed in our conclusions that this application is appropriate for this site in this context of these updates. The development of the lot represents precisely the type of incremental change and introduction of housing options in neighborhoods that is intended by official plan policy. With respect to not pushing the boundaries, in fact, what we've done here is try not to push the boundaries of the built form requirements for a multiplex. The building height, length, and all setbacks are within the parameters of the multiplex bylaw. It is the underlying semi-detached houseplex form that we're seeking permission for here. And the committee, in their decisions, as I know, does not set precedent, but you look at the precise elements of the proposal in front of you, and it ticks all of the boxes and has support from city planning as well as transportation services. I'd note with respect to rental housing, we spent a lot of time with housing policy staff to develop a draft tenant assistance plan. We accept the condition from housing policy staff to ensure that existing tenants have access to that assistance plan, which includes a number of measures and results in an end net increase in rental housing in the neighborhood here as a positive introduction of rental into the neighborhood. I think I've covered off the comments from the LBNA, and I'm happy to answer any further questions that have come out of that.
I'm going to just start with one. What's the current, is the current use to triplex?
It's a 3-unit building, yes, that's correct, yeah.
Thank you. Questions from panel members?
Yeah, you mentioned 70% of the lots, either on the street or in the area, had less frontage than
the bylaw requirement.
But
correct.
we don't know how many of those had multiplexes on them.
Correct. I don't have
I believe
that.
the chair tried to get at that earlier.
Yes. The multiplexes are a newly permitted built form, so in areas that haven't seen change in some time, perhaps there won't be existing multiplexes. I think the principle of looking at both the existing context of semi-detached and multi-unit buildings and townhouses in this neighborhood, as well as the planned context of permissions for multiplex buildings of a variety of building types that are now permitted within the zoning bylaw, shows that the planned context is for multiplexes alongside semi-detached, where permitted, detached buildings and multi-unit buildings in this neighborhood, both on this street and on surrounding streets. As if you visited the area, there's a variety of built forms, and this will be but one additional type of built form that is now approved in the bylaw, contributing to rental housing in the area.
That area has had a multitude of building types for quite some time. I mean, the existing use is a triplex. Anyway.
And the other game changer is bylaw 648/2025.
Correct.
Which, to go back to the LBNA's comment, that about our earlier decision, 648 wasn't in play then. Had 648 been in play, that would have changed that application.
That's correct. It introduces the defined building type that we're seeking permission for here, as well as codifies the built form standards for semi-detached houseplexes, which we meet here.
Okay, I thought I had another question, but it's evaporated from my mind. Anyone else?
Just a comment that I've gone up and down the street. It does have a variety of built forms on the street. There's no one consistent topology for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the issue is the density that's being proposed on two subdivided lots. My question has come back to my mind. The two conditions of planning, are they with regards to retaining existing tenancies?
I think there's one condition of planning, correct me if I'm wrong, staff or committee members. Pardon me.
I thought the original application had two planning conditions.
We'll put the memo on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
trying to
two.
find my staff report.
Provide an acceptable tenants assistance plan, and the owner enter into it.
The memo's on screen for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a condition requiring the tenant assistance plan and then entering into a section 45(9) agreement to implement that tenant assistance plan, which is standard. And what that tenant, I won't get into the details of the assistance plan, but it covers off providing assistance to existing tenants who are in place at the time of the application, with moving and assistance to find a new rental, and provides also conditions for return where that's applicable. So the details of those are negotiated between the owner and housing policy staff, and we've gone far and have a final draft of that, subject to the committee's approval of that condition.
Are your current tenants provided with parking?
There is one parking space available for 3 units currently.
One for the 3?
Correct. The other 2 units do not utilize the parking space.
But there is parking?
There's an existing driveway and garage, but those are proposed to be removed to allow for additional soft landscaping, both in the rear yard and in the side yard.
Okay, so I'm just not sure how you accommodate the tenant coming back anyway, that's fine.
There are provisions within the assistance plan that cover off those types of matters.
Okay. All right, we'll take it into committee then, unless there's anyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give it a whirl. With that, I do believe the applications are a good one and would move a motion for approval, as I believe they meet the 4 tests subject to the October 8th, 2025 planning memo, the October 2nd, 2025 heritage memo, and the November 7th, 2025 tree protection plan review memo. I think that's it.
There are ECS ones as well.
Yeah.
One, two, three. Yeah, there's 4 sets of conditions.
Yes. Sorry, missed that one.
Okay. So, okay, Mr. Bill's put a motion to approve. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I will second the motion.
Okay, thanks, Rick. All in favor? Opposed? I don't know what to do either, so.
I'm a bit torn myself.
Yeah, call it 3-2.
Who are the 2?
I did raise my hand.
I raised my hand.
But I am torn, but anyway, it's,
favor.
no, I'll go on as approving it, yes.
You know what, let's just make it unanimous.
Does it matter?
Does it really matter at this point?
Peer pressure?
No, leave me out. Yeah.
4-1.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that was our last item for the day.
And this is my last adjournment for
Oh my gosh, for 2025.
2025. I think we're ready to adjourn, and it is now 3:46. So I'm making a motion
Motion to adjourn.
for adjournment.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, staff.
Bill, Adam,
Yeah, no problem. But the fact that we